With that, we come to our next guest, Gerrit Oerlemans. He is not new on the show. We have seen him a couple times before. Of course, we are expecting him again on the 19th of March when we are going to celebrate 8 years of E-Gulden EFL Bitcoin of the Netherlands, because Gerrit is lead developer. Can I say it like that? One of the lead developers of E-Gulden EFL. Gerrit, welcome
Yeah,
today, and happy birthday to you.
yeah. Same to you. Huh?
Is it? Do you
It's
have news for
happening.
me, or do I have news for you today?
Um, Now we are in rather close contact. I mean, we know to reach each other when there is really news. I think
Well,
we share it with each other.
I got a
I
scoop.
think I've got some news. Yeah.
Oh, you got some news too.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Let's wait. I will wait. Let's bring it. What's your news, Gerrit? What's happening?
Now, well, the real news is that we are, you know that of course, we're working on a new marketplace. And one of the things we are elaborating is to avoid to be a central point. And we are developing a new marketplace without being involved with the transactions involved.
Mhm.
To get a
Oh,
piece of presenting products. And
sorry, Gerrit. Can you say that again?
the
You
people.
broke up. We had a bad connection. Could you say again what you just said?
Okay. Okay. So we are setting up a new marketplace without trying to be a central point in that market. So we bring. I see a hesitation from you, or
It's going well
I'm
this
still
time. No, it's good. It's good.
okay. Okay. So we're trying to bring together people, and when you look at Amazon, they're presenting products, and behind that product is a person or a private company. But we are our marketplace is more something like a yellow page environment, where we let people communicate with each other.
For the ones
So it's
for the ones that are born without a telephone book, the yellow pages is where all the businesses are listed.
yeah, yeah. But one of the problems with marketplace we have dealt with before is that it's difficult to maintain, and you become a central person when you set up this marketplace. So we're trying to bring together people that are invited to market among each other, and let's say advertisements, but messages you want to broadcast, and stuff like that. So a completely new concept, and that's the main thing we want to my main message for this year.
Great. What's happening, Johan? Something's going on.
Yeah, Joan is
From
laughing.
says, yeah, from says, Yoshi, stop eating the
Yeah, I
cactus.
know. I'm trying to move the cactus because it's a little bit too much in my face, but I'm trying to.
You're stuck.
It's a microphone, by the way.
All right.
Continue.
Yeah. Now, well, you was talking about your scoop, so
Yeah, well, I just invited Willem Engel to become friend of EFL, and he said yes. And in 40 minutes, I expect him to be on again. The next hour is reserved for him from 2 to 3. And I was
yeah.
hoping that you would stay while he is there to make a good impression on the EFL and to help him, because I'm not sure how much experience he has with crypto, and to make a little plan on how to take most benefit of the exposure that he can bring to EFL. Because I believe that if Willem Engel puts out a tweet that he become friend of EFL and share this on his social medias like Facebook, etc., that it could be the WikiLeaks moment of E-Gulden. So,
yeah.
uh,
The point is that one of the first things when we established the E-Gulden Foundation was that we promised each other that we wouldn't politicize E-Gulden, because E-Gulden is intended for everybody, and maybe it's a good thing to reconsider that. I don't know.
well,
But
if I can make my point on that, I think if a person like a Willem Engel becomes a friend, it doesn't mean that the people of E-Gulden are politicizing the coin. It's just a person that becomes a friend.
That's
And,
right. Yeah.
And he wants to get rid of all the politics in our lives.
Yeah. But that's look. I can understand that the EFL Foundation is not going to make a statement like that. Like, let's get rid of all the politics, or don't get vexed if you use EFL. I'm not asking for that, but it's just one man who becomes a friend. And the thing is that this guy is a controversial person and has a lot of exposure, but it's just one guy, So,
yeah. Now, what we wanted to avoid is that EFL got tainted. And when one guy has a lot of, when we talk about Yoshi Livo, for example, if if you got one person who is very dominant, then the coin gets associated with this one person. And but if you say it like that, anybody can be a friend of Eagle, and hopefully more. There are more people that are well known in Holland, a well known economist, but with a clear opinion. Everybody is welcome, and Willem Engel also.
Yeah, and that's,
So,
I think it would just be a good thing if you would sit in his time also of Willem Engel, and you can just listen to his motivation. But I think he's a very reasonable guy. Same like I think I am a reasonable guy, although some people call it extreme. But I like to twist the story and say that the world is extreme, and then yeah.
One of the most important things which are under pressure right now is freedom of speech. And if you listen to anybody who has to say something, it is your own choice to bias or to give bias to specific opinions. That's your own choice. And as long as you have freedom to do that, then that's what we all want to achieve, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my scoop. So it's not a scoop yet; it's a scoop in the making. But I wrote a nice text for today's episode, and I think it landed well enough for Willem to to think about it at least. Oh no, now I did something wrong. Oh no, I misclicked something, guys.
Oh dear, what's happened?
Oh, I have done something
You end the
wrong.
stream?
Oh no.
Tell me what's happened.
You could have kept silent, Joshi.
No, I
Nobody is
can't
seeing
because now I have changed some setting because I wanted to move the cactus, and now I have destroyed it. Oh, here it goes. Oh no. Yeah, here we go.
We have to sit higher now.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, I got it back. I will not touch it. The cactus is in my face, but it's okay. Itchy Pinky is welcome here. So.
Okay.
For the ones that don't know,
we're sitting very low.
For the ones
now.
that don't know, usually I stream with my cactus Itchy Pinky, and we got a digital Itchy Pinky, but never mind. Never mind.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Frommel, for all the confusion. Eh?
He posted a long line in the chat. He saw some people on some boomer stock on TV about crypto.
Yeah, the thing is, if you get information of crypto on TV, it's always with a certain source, a certain narrative, and they.
I always said you have to step out of crypto when you hear the boomer stock that they want to go in. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Once the
Okay.
I discovered, or not discovered, it came to my attention that all the media in the last couple of weeks are hyping NFTs, and the NOS, the Dutch broadcasting system, public broadcasting system, made an entire piece about NFTs and why they are so hot and how much money people are making with it. That is for me a serious red flag that the peak is set, basically. When the mainstream media talks positive about crypto, it's time to sell. But that's just my experience. So I don't give financial advice, as I always have to say. But yeah,
or when Nina Brink wants to go in. You see Nina Brink on TV like this?
And then Jan Mark makes a comment. In that case, if it doesn't matter who becomes friend, ask Ursula von der Leyen if she wants to become an E-Gulden friend also. The difference with Ursula von der Leyen is, of course, that she's representing the EU on behalf of all those people. So she is a professional politician, which is, I don't know if
but that's one of the things that does matter. We focus on the Netherlands, so we only invite. No, we invite everybody is welcome to try to become a friend, but to try to bias EFL to the Dutch community. So Ursula won't be accepted as a friend
because she's
that
Belgian.
So, is she Belgian?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
She,
could you elaborate then a little bit more if that's not what it's about? I thought it was about her Belgian heritage. What?
yeah, okay. Belgium. If, we had long discussions about embracing Belgium also, because why wouldn't you extend the scope to Dutch language, for example? And Belgium is lacking a country coin, so to say. We had the Belgium e-franc trial, but yeah, well, it's missing. So why don't you embrace the Flemish people also? And there are quite a few Flemish people that invested in EFL, not only money-wise but also in time. So yeah,
I need to make a little comment because I get comments now in the chat. But what about permissionless and borderless crypto? EFL can be used by anybody all over the world without any permission needed from anybody else. But the friend, what's the name of that campaign? Friend campaign.
Yeah.
If we wouldn't have blocked out people not from the Netherlands, all the EFLs from the Friend campaign would probably be circulating in Venezuela, Turkey, and other less fortunate countries than the Netherlands. So
we want to have we don't want to have a false start. To be trying to distribute the available EFLs as much as possible in the Hollands. That's the best we can do as a foundation. Afterwards, and during, EFL of course is a global currency. It's you can't. It is borderless. Everybody can access it. But
yeah, what we are talking about is just the friend campaign.
Not just the friend campaign. Our efforts are focused on the Netherlands.
Yes.
And
we try, or not we, because I'm not a part of it anymore. But the publications of the foundation of EFL are in Dutch, and with that, you focus on a specific niche.
Yeah,
And that's
so
basically
this interview is kind of an exception because it's we speak English.
yeah.
And the problem with speaking English is, first of all, I'm not that fluent in English, although I've written and spoken a lot in the English language, but still I'm very much handicapped. And I wrote English articles that were peer reviewed, but it is a handicap. So imagine if you're an average Dutch guy, you must be handicapped within the crypto sphere because everything is in English. So this is one of the counter movements to bring crypto in areas where Bitcoin won't reach, because it's Eleanor, it's maybe when she learns Dutch, maybe she reach those Dutch people, but still she won't reach your grandma. Huh? That's the thing.
And my grandma knows everything, Gerrit. Yeah. She lost.
I'm sure.
My grandmother lost bitcoins on Mount Gox, so which was my fault. I'm sorry, Grandma. In case you're watching.
Maybe it's good to get back to my scoop, which
Yes.
I wasn't prepared as your first question. But
questions are coming in, by the way, in the chat.
No,
but I would invite everybody to go to map.efl.nl, which is the experimental environment, I must say. And we as a foundation are standing behind that, open for questions and critics and suggestions. But we don't want to do this as a foundation only. We need people, and we need people that elaborate our first move, so to say. So the scope is we want you all to participate and to make something of it.
Well, I think with the people we already spoke to today, I have a feeling that this year is gonna be different, Gerrit. We are now in this game with EFL for almost 8 years in 3 months and 19 days. We are on the 8th year of EFL. And in the previous 8 years, it hasn't been so obvious why you want to use EFL as a Dutch person. Because, yeah, the system serves you very well, or at least it served you very well. And today, with the efforts of Willem Engel and many others, of course, let's just say the entire situation globally at the moment pushes people towards a crypto like a EFL, and that's why I believe 2022 it will be a very different year from any other year. That is just my feeling, my belief. I cannot prove it with anything. It's just my red clown nose telling me that it's time. But yeah, I really do think that because we have made, I can remember so many calls from you. We need people to participate. I really think this year is going to be different, Gerrit, and that the participation will come this time. I don't know how you feel about it, if you feel any difference, but
no, I feel much different because we kind of we didn't launch the new initiative. We kept it quiet, but we did address all people that are currently aware and actively follow EFL. But they kind of hesitate to participate. And maybe that's the age of EFL. People invested 7 years ago, and still it's not mainstream. And maybe that's disappointment. But the main reason is that there is a lot of noise, and the noise comes from all initiatives in the world. So let's say 10,000 coins, 10,000 teams, 10,000 ideas, and which one is the best? And if you are a minority by definition, being a small country, doesn't mean that you can excel and be visible. But you have a lot of resistance from mainstream, and you are a minority, and that's what people should start to be aware of. That being a minority means being a community, and that's the main notion I start to hear more and more, that communities become the escape of globalization, and that's my main hope, that that will get some traction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in a way, I do believe the political landscape of today is in our favor in that way, because communities are being made smaller. You cannot travel as easy as you could 5 years ago. It's not as easy to trade with other countries as it was 5 years ago because of the how to say it correct. Let's just call it the lockdown, the couple of weeks of chaos that are still counting in the world of transport today. So
Yeah, you say there's some break on globalization.
yeah, and
Yeah,
because of that,
maybe.
localization becomes a more looked at alternative. Let's say it like that. I don't want to say it's being
Yeah.
pushed, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, the globalization has some nice aspects to it. Like, we are all equal. If you say something against that, then yeah, you're in a bad spot, globally. And it's when you learn about all the positive aspects of localization, of community building, then you get to words like sustainability. And yeah, when you look at the marketplace in Dutch cities, which all shops are from big companies owned by, and small shop owners, small enterprises, small entrepreneurs have very hard time, and they're even that's the first thing that's being disrupted with the lockdown, not to enable local initiatives, but to break them.
Yeah,
To
that's
break
true.
them.
That's true. I didn't look at it like that. You're right. You're right. In that perspective, you're right. But
So yeah,
because because that is being done, people do look more at their local community. Like, hey, all of a sudden I cannot go to my local shop. Why is that? Why do I have to go? Well, I don't want to say that it's mainstream yet, but it triggers people in thinking about their reality or their lifestyle, or let's say it, their
yeah.
habits.
People have time, plenty of time now. You would think, but I don't see that. Don't see that happening. People would have time now during the last Christmas holidays. They would have had time to publish an announcement or an advertisement on map.efl.nl.
Yes, yes, yes.
You are the one who was on top. You're gone now because your Honkler your Honkler advertisement has depleted. But yeah, well, you see, something is moving, but everybody listening here could put an advertisement, some message he wants to share with the world, Holland in the first place, but the world, no problem, and for free. Try to discover how to do that. That's
Yeah.
if you have time.
Yeah.
But I doubt people have.
Well, we did get
that much
4
time.
new friends in the last Christmas, so that is something. And
Yeah.
because I put my head above the grass, not sometimes, in the last month, 2 months maybe, I've had people come to me and ask me about EFL, and this has basically I made up my decision to stop streaming in English, and until the 19th of March, I will stream in the Dutch language. Because I got a feeling that the time is ripe for it in a way. I get questions from people. This entire stream has always been about answering questions because I got too many questions. So I got a stream and I can just say to everybody, join the stream and ask me questions there. Over time, that didn't really hold up, and it was more like a giveaway than that I was answering questions. But I think the Netherlands, well, some people in the Netherlands are now more ready than before, and I would like to, yeah, give it a shot, and for the next couple of months, stream in Dutch, because I don't care about how many viewers I got or how many followers or whatever. In a way, I would like to explain crypto to the Netherlands. That's what I intend to do, also with Liberland in a way. So yeah, I really have the feeling in the next 3 months we are gonna wish we never started this entire project and it wouldn't have become so successful, Gerrit. That's what I really believe.
Okay, but we are ready for this success. I mean, we are ready for it for quite a while now, since 2017. When, contrary to what you said, there is no technical. What did you say?
I said there is one.
Innovation. No technical innovation with E-Gulden to Eleanor. But since 2017, there is no technical innovation necessary because all the features added to Bitcoin from that time are not really necessary.
True.
And Taproot, you name it, it's Bench. It's an improvement, but I think it's more important that the improvement comes from attracting of getting more attention, and that's our main focus. We are a small group. I'm talking about a foundation and a team around it, to which I also count you.
Let's put it out there for the people. How many people are we talking about? That is interesting.
It is, I think, people that have EFL between their ears. It's about 5,500. And that's not much. But people that are regularly contacting, it's about 25. And people that are weekly contacting, it's 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So that's the and they come and they go and they come back again. So it's I just had a person who asked to finish his participation with the savings plan, and I had a long email conversation with him. Although savings plan is anonymous. And he decided to continue with it for the next 3 years. So it's those conversations are very I also put a lot of effort in it because it's just one person who is asking and who's getting response. So we are ready for. We have also published a lot. So it's easy to point to our old publication if people have specific questions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also why we are ready for success.
Let me try and see if Willem Engel is still online. Sorry, I can only do one thing at a time. I'm a guy.
Yeah. Oh, in the meantime, I can say, yeah, there's lots of things going on in the chat, but
maybe it's
yeah, I think
yeah, I see a lot of people talking with each other, but
yeah,
maybe it's a good moment
basically,
to play a small video for the crowdfunding of Freedom Radio. No, not
yeah,
Freedom Radio.
good idea.
Virus Truth.
No, for Viruswaarheid,
Viruswaarheid.
yeah.
We will play a 9-minute video. After that, we will be back with Gerrit Oerlemans and Willem Engel together. Does that sound right? Is that okay
Yeah,
for
Fine.
everybody?
good idea.
Then,
And we can also do then the raffle after the video.
and we will do a raffle after the video. Exclamation mark raffle. If you didn't join in on the raffle yet, we are giving away EFLs today, Bitcoin of the Netherlands, and we are celebrating the 13th Bitcoin birthday. 13 Bitcoin birthday. I am trying to find the right video. And this is not it. This is maybe it. I will see. Johan will tell me if this is the correct one. We will be back
Okay, yeah, there's a lag, by the
in
way.
9 minutes. See you soon. And make sure to donate. Donate to Virus Truth. No, that was the wrong button.
On a sunny Saturday afternoon, George sits serenely in his barber's chair, content in the knowledge that in just a few...
Hey guys, Adam Williams here, coming to you from the Netherlands. I'm een online strength and healing coach. I'm een American expat. Ik woon hier voor bijna 6 jaar. Dus ik spreek een klein beetje Nederlands, zeker. Dames en heren. Tuurlijk. Ja, toch? You want to just pretend that you speak Dutch, walking around saying to people, ja, toch? Anyway, so here to talk to you about an amazing organization and their Bitcoin birthday party, their donation, their fundraiser for what they're doing. And the name of the organization, which I just learned a few days ago, is called Viruswaarheid. 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 And they do 4 things. Number 1, they're a peaceful organization working to create a voluntary society and a parallel society to the tyranny that we've all been experiencing. Number 2, many court cases all over the place, working to expose the corruption and the law breaking that's happening at the state media and at the court level. Also, tons of research with many doctors and medical professionals that are being censored and silenced and having their livelihood taken away for speaking out against what's happening. And then finally, throwing protests, which I've been going to for 20 months since the first one they had at the Malieveld there in Den Haag. So, great organization. They need help in order to continue their mission. And so you can support them by just hitting the info that's connected with this video. So Mr. Willem Engel, who's a part of the program and I've met several times at the at the walks and at the protests, he wrote something that I wasn't able to improve on. It's a really excellent thing that he wrote. So let me just read that to you from Willem's voice. Looking back at almost 2 years of information warfare, a strange feeling of pride fills me. We did not win the war yet, but our role wasn't to topple the behemoth yet. The first task is to expose, to demask, to unveil the beast being artificial intelligence. The 4th Industrial Revolution that is being accelerated by groups like the World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, World Health Organization, National Institutes of Health, and the foundations of Zuckerberg, Gates, Soros, is the merging of man and machine. When we started with Viruswaarheid, we knew that governments break laws, normally doing it for a greater good, and the safety of citizens. We also realized from the start that things didn't add up. The measures were disproportional and illogical. Like having the gym closed so impacted me in my bodybuilding career. I'm at 4 silver medals in all natural bodybuilding. Having the gym closed and the liquor store and the smoke shop open, it just doesn't make any sense if the goal is actually about health, but we know it's about force and control. After a month, it became clear this coup d'etat was a worldwide problem masked under the guise of an international health crisis. The marketing of COVID, and shortly after the vaccines and the app, has all the marks of a false flag operation. Now, speaking of false flags, I was inside the building 90 minutes before it was destroyed, 21 years ago now, in New York City. I walked through the World Trade Center every day. I was 23 then, to go to my job at the World Financial Center. I was a director at Merrill Lynch and Jefferies, officer of the firm in derivatives trading. So I saw the entire first tower on fire from 300-400 meters away across the street, saw people jumping out of the building and was running away shortly after. If you guys remember algebra, I know some algebra about the Iraq and Afghanistan wars that followed, led by a false flag. Millions of people killed or maimed at a cost of trillions of dollars borrowed from the unborn, stolen from the unborn, equals so that thousands of well-connected war profiteers, usurpers, politicians, alphabet agency wraiths, military industrial complex mercenaries, and dark sorcerers can earn billions of dollars for themselves and their friends. They're doing it again, except now they're doing it to everyone, everywhere. We have seen many of these false flag operations for the pretext of proxy wars in Africa, Middle East, and Central Asia, never before on such a scale, and in our own civilization. The shock method has been planned to the last detail. How many of you have lost family members that you don't even speak to now because you can't see reality the same way? This is by design. This is planned. Every facet of life has been affected by the measures that clearly focus on submission and re-education, attacking the fabric of society itself. What did we achieve so far with our group? In the 25 court cases, we laid bare the deceit and corruption in many layers of government and the courts themselves. With the demonstrations, we have shown the lack in democracy and human rights. The protest has grown from a few unhappy citizens to a full-flung resistance. The countless broadcasts and news articles have informed the public of what was and is still going on behind the facade of media and politics. As a fourth pillar, sometimes less visible, nonetheless, at least as important, working on the people's autonomy, creating a parallel society, ranging from food and education and media to self-governance. Looking forward to 2022, we see a tipping point on the horizon. The pressure and time constraints are mainly felt on the other side. By continuing and increasing our effort, we hope to bring the perpetrators of the coup d'etat in front of a panel of judges of an independent court. I'm ready for the Nuremberg Trials 2.0. We believe in the road we took beginning of 2020, which still consists of the core values of love and truth. Those are the values of the group: love, truth, freedom, and humanity. The way of nonviolent, non-cooperation, and non-compliance is the way to tackle this worldwide problem. So I really love what he said. It really much sums it up for me. So thanks for taking the time to watch this. I know your time is valuable. Please do donate to this noble cause, because they are the ones not just talking about making things different, but actually working to expose the truth so it can be out there instead of be obfuscated, and people can make their own decisions about what's going on, and we can take our control back of our own lives, take our personal responsibility, employ compassion, employ empathy, and no more of this forcing and coercion and lying. We need it to end. So if you want to get a hold of me, again, I'm Adam Williams. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. All my information will be here. And my job to serve is as an online strength and healing coach. Like I said, 4 silver medals in natural bodybuilding these last 4 years. And I help you build muscle in your best healed body. I have students all over the world, and maybe I can help you. Thanks for watching. and support this mission.
Raffle toch?
Yes, we are back. That was a small video to promote our crowdfunding for Viruswaarheid, the Dutch anti-COVID restriction action group, if I can call it like that. We are first gonna do a raffle, and after that, we are going to continue the conversation with Willem Engel, maybe, and Gerrit Oerlemans, of course. I'm sorry, Gerrit, I almost forgot you. Johan, maybe you can pick the next winner.
Oh, yeah.
I will.
I'm so busy. I'm looking to all the donations that are done. It's going wild now.
I will use the spin
but-
button in the meantime.
Yeah. Within an hour, you can also. But the donations are also below the video. You can also see some the addresses for donations. But I close the thing now, and I pick a winner. And the lucky winner is Emily.
Hey, Emily,
To
congratulations.
you, Emily. Yeah, Emily, to you.
Emily,
And
Emily, to
let's
you.
go to the.
And I have spun a 9x multiplier. I'm now gonna spin the price. Let's see what it's gonna be. Oh, great. 0.9 times 9 makes 8.1 EFL. Congratulations to the winner. Let's start a new one. Johan, please. And
Yep,
then
it's done.
if I'm correct, let's double check. Willem, can you pull up a green screen for us? And I can put you on the desk. Is it possible?
Yeah, and if you're in Skype.
If not, I'll put you in one of the TVs. Yeah, I'll do that. Let me double check.
I can check now all the donations that are done. I just saw that there are 200 E-Guldens for Viruswaarheid. That's about 43 euros. And other donation and $33.75 in crypto. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's still coming in. So I check if there are unconfirmed transactions. Not here. En even kijken. The other one, Dash. And all confirmed, yeah. But perhaps every round, every time we show the video, there are more donations coming. So at the moment, your Viruswaarheid has got about 70 euros.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we are only going for 3 hours, so it's not bad. Not
Yeah.
bad. And of course, we didn't take into account the 1 million that is still pending. Willem, welcome back. I hope you had a good travel. It looks like it was a safe travel. You made it, and you made it to your destination. In the meantime,
Correct.
Gerrit Oerlemans, chairman of the EFL Foundation, has also joined the stream. And officially, your time is starting now, Willem. Do you have any specific news for us to share? Is there anything you want us to know about?
Well, we talked briefly about the protest yesterday, which is getting a lot of international attention. We see it back in all kinds of headlines, from RT to Jordan Peterson has tweeted about it. I think Joe Rogan David Icke. So it is setting Amsterdam and Holland on the world map with a very dubious claim that now we are the most restricted and most violent COVID coup country in the world. And to be honest, I think when people were at the protest, now also the media is focusing on the violence, which is fair, because I think we need to have an investigation, and the officers that committed these crimes have to be brought in front of a judge. But let's not forget that it was a sounding victory. We did what we were there for: gathering in protest, drinking coffee, doing a march through the city with tens of thousands of people, having speeches, and most of it was still in a lot of love, unity, and peaceful protest.
Yeah. Yeah, and we saw the pictures also of the piles of bricks next to the road that were untouched. So heads off to all the protesters that remained peaceful.
Exactly.
Because
exactly. After 1.5 years of protesting, you see that there's a discipline, that people know the shenanigans, that they see through the hurdles or the way the police, and in that sense, they don't act on themselves. It's always the mayor and the cabinet of the mayor, and I think in this case Grapperhaus directly, who is directing the violence, and they are the police is being used as pawns. But what is so nice to see is that the protesters are seeing through it, so constantly filming, identifying who is potentially a rioteer with a uniform or even without a uniform. And we see a lot of these agent provocateurs, which is explicitly forbidden by the Venice Commission. If people are interested in the real rules, then please go to our website or the website of the Venice Commission directly, and you can see all the international rules and guidelines around protesting. And we already counted more than 20 different
violations.
And I'm different. I'm not saying the amount. Then we're talking about thousands of crimes committed by the police.
Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad reality, but it is the reality. And in a way, you know, this pain we had to go through this pain at some point because the system was a lie. And that is at least how I explain it, to see it in a positive way. You know, at some point,
Absolutely.
At some point, we had to get over this moment in time where we were so diluted with fake news that we actually believed it. You know, and one of the ways.
Yeah, tomorrow I have a special meeting or a special interview with Jeroen Harambam, who is a professor, I think in Leuven or in Belgium, and he studies the phenomena conspiracy theories and why people believe in conspiracy theories. And in reality, it is about reality perception.
I always say,
why do people adhere to certain stories even if they're blatantly false?
Yeah.
Yesterday I was watching a documentary about the moon landing, and I never thought about it. Like I just took it for granted. Yes, there was end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s. We had all these Apollo missions and the moon landings. And watching this documentary, it reminded me is not necessarily that the moon landing is false, but that the story that they are telling, the narrative, is false.
Yeah.
And that is what we have seen with 9/11. The buildings collapsed because I've stood on the buildings, and later in New York, I've seen that the place where the buildings were non-existent, or the place where it was there, but not the buildings. But the story behind it is demonstrably false. Like you can clearly, if you do the fact check on the explanation of 9/11, it's bullshit. And with a lot of momentous events in history, they are probably different than what is being taught.
I always have to laugh at the people that call me a conspiracy theorist, and then I reply to them, yeah, but who is paying taxes to a king? You know, I mean, what about that conspiracy? But yeah,
Well, the guys behind the judgment of what is conspiracy and not is Reuters Thompson. It's when you go to Joe Rogan, he needs to hide in different media which are inaccessible still by those people. But it's fascinating to see who is judging conspiracy. It should be called free speech, and then let people make their own judgment. But of course, you also have trolls. Like we are a typical grassroots environment, the EFL, and we have a lot of people that like the initiative, but also trolls. So there's always some this will be competition or whatever. People that don't grasp the idea yet or don't like it, but still you have to have a means to, as a grassroots organization, to get rid of bad statements. So it's also kind of a defense to be able to call something conspiracy theory, but it starts with free speech. I think it's
Absolutely.
one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I put the two of you together, Willem and Gerrit, is because I believe that in some way we need to connect all these different movements, because of course Willem is a big name in that movement, but not the only name. There are so many people trying to make their point, showing a different reality, and at the end of the year, they all start to announce that they need donations for the next year, and thank you everybody for supporting us. But they are always asking for euros on a bank account. And then I get so frustrated from that. And I think, guys, open your eyes. I have everybody that's on my list, I have written them an email, at least one. And sometimes they write me back, most of the time they don't. And I see everybody struggling in a way to find that group of people that they feel they belong to, or that belong to them. And I think we should make it so much broader. And if we can prove that the money that everybody is using is not what they think it is, then we get somewhere that they can question everything, basically. And the money.
But what's the problem? What's the problem, Yoshi?
What's the problem is that
why don't we just get together? I mean, that's
Good question. Yes.
just elaborate a platform. You do it, and then you invite people you think that belongs there.
Yeah, but they are not picking it up, and they because
that's right. It's the same with EFL. And I think one of the main issues is that people are scared for their reputation. I mean, there is this one challenge. Maybe not you, Willem. I don't know, but it's why don't you just embrace EFL?
Yeah. So for me, it's more of an aspect of not being familiar with it.
Okay.
So being in the unknown. Guilty by association and image. I don't do that kind of stuff. So that would never be a factor of deciding to do it or not to do it.
No, but others that we need to invite.
There are organizations which. Sorry?
Others that we need to invite are. So you're an exception.
So this is one of the pitfalls that I see in the resistance, that there's a lot of organizations are awakening, but have not reached the level that they see that the media is false, politics is false, science is false, the court system is false. It is all a facade. And I'm not talking about independent judges, independent politicians. Of course, there are good people that uphold certain principles and values, but the system is so corrupted that it has only one purpose at this moment. It is self-preservation.
Yeah, buy time.
The whole system, all reality is skewed in order to be able to keep going. And in that sense, I say to people already, we are living in the matrix in the sense that AI is the enemy.
Yeah.
And the enemy part there is that we do not understand it, but that we surrender our personal sovereignty and our responsibility to something, a magic black box that is supposed to solve our problems with computing power.
Yeah.
I think that hesitance that I have towards the digital era also plays a part in the hesitance that I have towards electronic currency. I see the option of it, but I'm still figuring out what to do. And another aspect of why we haven't dove in, why we didn't dive in it, is we also wanted to prove, like what we did with the court system, we also had a few court cases against the bank. And in those court cases, we also showed that the banks are part of the problem. They are in that power structure. And we need to have a bank account and do the court cases in order to show this to other people. And what was astounding to me is that even though we fought these court cases and we won, and the most important part was to show what banks are really like from the inside, kind of vindictive and always siding with the government, that a lot of organizations stand or fall by the accessibility of a bank account. And that's one of the reasons why I want to participate in this day, because we really need to look for alternatives, and a digital currency is definitely one of the most promising.
You know, Willem,
You are. I think you have two. I think you have two options, Willem. One is fight the matrix, and the other one is create a parallel solution.
Absolutely.
And we are definitely on different sides of this case, and we are elaborating a parallel solution, and we are having a hard time, and you are fighting the matrix, and I think both paths have to be taken, I think.
Absolutely. So what I said from the start, we are fighting or using a pressure tactic. So trying to make the playing field as small as possible for our adversary. Now, what we definitely need is to make our own playing field larger. And that is where the parallel society comes in. And when I look at it, our first part is, I think, the food supply. And I think in Holland, we have a very good starting point with the farmers that are also being under attack. So it should be relatively easy to get a barter economy or a half economy, which is still based on the currency, but let's do it as much cash as possible. And from there, we need to build to go to a real alternative economy. And that's like every one of us is in the resistance that plays that part towards real autonomy.
But I'll tell you that it's extremely difficult. I must tell you, I am a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And I know from firsthand how difficult it is to build this parallel and to, my product it's like bringing water to the sea. And if you are a farmer in Holland, you're completely hung on the debt system.
Yes.
I mean, you can't escape.
Well, you can escape. If you look at the Rabobank, why and how it initially started, that was the whole idea behind it. Is that farmers got together and put their savings in one account, so the farmer that was starting could use that savings to start up his company and then pay it back later and doing the same. So this was really based on an ideology and a community thinking. And along the way, all these efforts and all these idealistic movements have been captured. And now what we saw with social media, same thing. Social media was the solution for the old media, but it became completely captured, and it actually gave our weapons to our adversary. And I think that is the big scare, and also the real threat is that once Facebook or China or the European Union rolls out their own digital currencies and starts to manage this from a central power structure, it actually becomes more oppressive than cash money. And that's what we're already seeing now with banks, that almost everything is already digital.
Yeah, I think that what you mentioned as the last point is a very real threat, and this central bank digital currency is coming. The ECB is openly talking about it. China has already implemented. ECB is expecting it to be 2026. So they are planning that, and we can wait until all the functionalities are regulated in such a way that they work against us and we lose all our privacy. Or we start by educating ourselves today and work in a system that they do not control. And so that is, like I said in the very start to you, Willem, once you break away from the system, people tend to overshoot and then decline any form of value, and money doesn't matter and stuff like that.
Yes.
And um,
So this is what I see happening in the resistance as well, that there are two roads taken. I mean there are multiple ideals, but mainly based on the financial part. We see that people want to be purer than pure and don't do anything for money, and don't respect the reality that without money there's still a barter system, there's still a value system. Even if I give you my time, I cannot do that infinitely. I need to have something in return, otherwise it becomes a slave system again. So the people in the resistance that focus only on the pure action, that cannot be sustainable. Then the other part, and those people are kind of seen as war profiteers, that they start their company from a certain ideal, and they service a niche market, and within that niche market they become successful, and they start actually making money and being able to sustain themselves with that new company that they have built. And to both sides, I would say the middle road is better. But we need to realize that also within the resistance, we need those new companies. If we try to stay away from any form of agglomeration of money or value, we will always be the slave class.
exactly.
Yeah, I understand it from your point of view. If you look at Malone, for example, Robert Malone, he's 62. He's a farmer also. I mean, his wife has horses, and he has nothing. He has nothing to lose in this respect. I mean, he doesn't need the funding. I'm 64. I'm a farmer. I don't need funding. And maybe it would be wise to reach people that are less vulnerable. I mean, you're in the middle of your career, so to say.
Yeah,
And
but I
of
also
course you
worked
need
on my
funding.
autonomy, and I think that was a big part in my family. I come from a family that trades in real estate, so we have done a lot of financing within the family. And when I look at my own position, I own the building that I teach in and that I live in. So in that sense, I'm much less vulnerable to an outside attack. If I'm nobody can fire me because I'm independent. There's not a bank that can take away my building because I don't pay the mortgage or whatever. And I think trying to reach a certain form of autonomy, that you do not become dependent on the system. That is the goal of this alternative economy or alternative society.
Mhm.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say also is that there is a large group that is not vulnerable. So, I mean, people who are pensioned, and they are sitting on the bench behind geraniums, maybe, but maybe some extra focus in that direction would give you a lot of extra support.
Well,
So,
I will take that advice and see who is willing to help with the cause. But I must say, I think already a lot of people in that age group are aware and are supporting, because until now we have nothing to complain about on the financial part. People have been giving very generously, and we're not really campaigning for donations. It's kind of happened very organically.
yeah. Okay.
Well,
Well,
let's try and make something work on behalf of this friend of EFL thing, and maybe you know, Willem, you have some extra requirements. Like, if I'm gonna do this, I want some guide written in a certain layout. You know, that there is a virus truth guide of how to become or whatever. I don't know. But this is a couple people together that can make it work.
did you explain the
No, I
friend
didn't.
campaign?
No, because I always
Yoshi?
think I don't have enough time, so I just
Okay.
throw it in there. Shall I, you want to
Okay.
do that?
Now, well, it's just the fact that we give EFL from a central fund, and we want something in return, which is your social medium. So if you say something positive about EFL, then you get EFL in return. That's the deal. And at the moment, we have about 400 people that really gave away part of their privacy by presenting their name, let's say Willem Engel, and a social medium that they have influence in, and that's the deal. And that's the campaign we set up in the beginning of EFL, and it just works
Maybe it's a
very
good thing to
slow.
mention, Gerrit, that
And
the money was put
but
together by the participants from that time. It's a one-time fund,
yeah,
so we are not creating new money. There is just we can hand it out once, and then it's gone. That's why we protect it, for example, from the people in Venezuela and Turkey and all the other places that want to get money for bread, but not the EFLs that we are giving away. They are not for that. So we try to protect that a little bit for the Dutch people. It's reserved for the Dutch people. And basically what it is that once you share your address and your name, people can announce themselves friend also with your address and name, and you get a little bonus for that. And because it is like that, the system is set up like that, all the reaction that I get a lot is, oh, it must be a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme. It's not like that. It's
yeah,
just a one-time fund, and we give that away, and you get some extra if you invite your friends also. But it's not like a lifetime payment based on some marketing tool or whatever. So that is a common misunderstanding that people have, that somewhere we are making money on this. No, we are not making money on it. We are just giving it away, and we hope that you like it so much that you get that you will participate more, and then there might be a profit out of it for the community. Let's say it like that. So that is some of my experience that I can share, that sometimes goes wrong and people think that I am making money by inviting them as a friend. I don't make any money on that. You know, it's actually costing money.
no, it's very true what you say, Willem. That is, you shouldn't be ashamed to ask for funding. But when money is involved, people are very skeptic, and that's our experience. But we only are about money. So
Yeah, and I think that is also connected to the Dutch culture. to not talk about income, to have savings. It's very different from the American culture, for instance. So the donation system is now becoming a part of the new economy because a lot of new companies in the resistance are based on donations. So of course, the EFL could play a big part in being the water that flows instead of being fixed to still the old economy with the banks that especially with the social credit system that is coming with the QR codes that can determine how much and if you can use and for what you can use
Look
your
at all
assets.
the crowdfunding actions today that get blocked. Wasn't Waku Waku
Exactly.
also blocked it? I don't know if they actually eventually got paid or not. But
No, I think eventually they got it, but the whole point is, of course, to delay.
yeah.
So they did the crowdfunding on their own name. There's also a lot of stories about it that it was a scheme and a lot of people profited from it. I don't believe any of that. It was very straightforward. They did a crowdfunding for their restaurant. They made more than 200,000 euros with it. And then the crowdfunder said, oh, wait a minute. Now we have to make you jump through all the loops. And that shows that when there's a digital interaction normally, there's always a third party involved. And if that third party is a power player, like with the bank system, that is pulling the party line or trying to be the best kid in the class of the regime, then you do not own your surplus actually, because they control it. And I think what blockchain does, if it's implemented in the right way, you still have the idea with a cash transaction. And what is a cash transaction is that it's only between two people. And that control system, that pyramid or triangle that's constantly made, is seen everywhere. If you look at the patient-doctor relationship now in this so-called health crisis, normally with informed consent, the doctor makes a diagnosis and prescribes a certain medicine that is best suited to his knowledge. And he informs the patient and he goes over the options and says, okay, you can do this or this or this. Eventually, or in the end, it's your choice. And that's a two-way street, but based on two players. And now what's happening with the IGJ and the WHO, the RIVM, etc., all those so-called health organizations, is that they start to control that flow. They are telling the doctors what they can and cannot do, and they are forcing the patient what they should take. And that control system is not exclusive for healthcare. It is in every part of our society. If you look at our educational system, at our food system, and normally when you go to from the farmer to the consumer, now there are big companies between. And you see some of these farmer actions going against these change of supermarkets. I think for a lot of people outside of the farming community, they don't understand, or they just understand the part like the farmer wants a better price for their product. But it is all about that control system, a third player being a parasite controlling the flow of surplus or products.
I wanted to say that there is a huge paradigm shift happening in the moment, and like you mentioned, Willem, it's involving healthcare, food, education, and the thing that there are inside of all these niches, there are excellent players uh, making work of excellent projects, but they still connect with this old money system, which captures them in a way. And that's every time I go to these organizations and I mention them, look, there's crypto money, Bitcoin, blah, 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 a friend of EFL. And usually they just don't respond, or they say, yeah, but we focus on this, this is our thing. Yeah, but on your website is your bank account number. So why isn't there a Bitcoin address on it? And those conversations always, I am not the most diplomatic person sometimes. So
Yeah, but I think Gerrit and Yoshi, I think your goal is actually being that educator, showing by doing, but also handing out the information. And I'm a teacher now in dance, but I used to teach at the university as well. It is a lot about repetition because people only are ready to uptake the new information when they are ready, not when you decide they had enough information. So,
Willem, are you ready? I mean, imagine being Prime Minister of Holland. Maybe you are not ready yet.
Well,
I don't
never know
what's
when
your feeling about it.
Yes, so practicing until you are perfect. I'm very against that form of system. I am on a need to know basis. I need to know enough to start with it, and then I'll learn by doing. And I think that goes also for cryptocurrency. So we wanted to start earlier actually, but then we got all these court cases with the banks. But when I look at also my own life, how I want to invest my surplus, it's definitely also land, also gold, even food, buildings, e-currency, actually anything that gives me autonomy. So yes, I see a big part in the future for electronic currency. But there is a hurdle to take, actually two hurdles. One is it's unknown. And I think a lot of people heard of Bitcoin, but they don't really understand what it is. And the other one is the waiting for which one will actually be successful, and the looming digital currency of China, Facebook, or the European Union is making people hesitant. At least for me, it does.
I understand that because it's very powerful technique, and you give a lot of your autonomy away to such a protocol. So, you know, I understand that there is resistance or that people are hesitant.
Well, you do the same with the bank. So I don't know if that is the biggest fear of that you give away a lot of autonomy. It's a new technique. We did it with the banks as well, and then a lot of people had to go from checks to electronic cards, and that took a while. So it's a process. For me personally, it's mainly about if the world government steps in and monopolizes it again, then what do we do?
Yeah, the main thing we always said, Yoshi, was that EFL, we don't pretend we are the solution. Just try it. The threshold is so very low. I mean, what is one EFL? It's 20 cents. It's nothing. And we are trying to elaborate answers to questions. What can you do with it? And we didn't have enough time yet to present it. What can you do with Bitcoin? Sell it for euros, in the sense that you've got a lot of euros. That's the other way around. So we must elaborate a new paradigm, a new economy based on cryptocurrency, and that's not existent yet. And that's why I say we are not ready yet. Or we should accommodate a lot of people who want to build on that foundation. So we started with the notion that we have two options. One, creating a parallel universe based on cryptocurrency, for example. Not only cryptocurrency, but we are not ready yet. I mean, it has to evolve. When you're attacking the matrix, I don't think, even when you become the Prime Minister of Netherlands, I wonder how successful you will be. But yeah, those are I think we are not ready yet, I say.
True. We need a paradigm shift and an awareness with people about what it is. And what you see now with the Great Reset, these forced changes have an enormous backlash. With the vaccine industry, now they make huge profits. But when this turns, nobody will take any vaccine anymore. So that market will completely collapse.
Okay, chaos, that's one option. Yeah, another option. Chaos from Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So gradual change, I think, is preferable, because then you have a lot of systems together, and for the purist, it can feel that it's insufficient. For instance, when you look at the lanterns, some old and then the LED lanterns and now the smart lanterns, they all coexist. But if you see that some parts of the technique doesn't work, then you can always fall back and quite easily. If you invest a lot of money to change the whole technique, and then it surfaces that it has essential flaws in it, then you're worse off than you when you would have stayed with the old technique.
Yeah.
Well,
there are a lot of good initiatives like transition towns. You've heard about it, maybe. It's all about sustainability and local economy, but they are all sorry to say, but they are kind of laughable because they're too small, they're too nice, it's not serious, and that's the problem with grassroots. It's we need to build. The problem is that we need a lot of funding, as you say, to be able to do that. Maybe we need to stir the matrix also, so that we can get a little bit of chaos to drive people in, or to educate people into the preferable directions. Preferable, they should choose themselves. So it's
our suggested
free speech, which is important.
Yeah. Well,
I think these autonomic or these communities that are now being set up because of this crisis will also be incubators for exactly this. And even if it sounds low tech, because people will start living on farmlands again, in communities. So it feels almost going back to the transition of hunter-gatherer to pastoralist or agriculture. But maybe we need to do that, because then we see what we really need and we throw away all the excess baggage. Because if you look at society, now we buy a lot of stuff we actually do not need at all. And we fill our time with a lot of useless activities. So going back to nature, going back to the basic stuff, I think shows us that there are things that are fascinating, that are really a step forward. The whole information technology is a revolution. But having a digital copy of yourself that is getting lost in all kinds of digital dependencies, that is not a bright future, I would say. So what I said is dependencies being addictions.
Yeah, but the main meme within the cryptocurrency world is not your key, not your coin. And when you let it sink in, then you get to the main thing which disrupts the globalization aspect, which is encryption. So Bitcoin is all about encryption. So I want to say something to you which cannot be eavesdropped upon. That's Bitcoin. Although it's a general ledger, everybody can look that as things are being transacted, but money is sent from A to B, but A is anonymous and B is also anonymous. That's the main thing. And everybody who says something else, like your money is on the street when you're transacting Bitcoin, that's not true. I mean, the sender and the recipient, they are the only ones who know they actually transacted.
Yeah, and it becomes a different thing if it is a centrally by the government planned cryptocurrency where you can only get a address after you
Yeah.
show your passport.
That's the exact opposite.
This was my
Yeah.
Liberland passport. Every time I say passport, I just have to show it. I'm so happy with it. But sorry, so there is a real threat in this technology because it can be used for evil, and that's why we need to educate ourselves about it before we get another bullshit story about how great it is and how everybody doesn't want anything else, you know. And the media can spin the story however they like, and a lot of people still take it for granted, and we have to be able to show the people an alternative way so they understand what's going on before the government steps in and forces it on those people. And because I'm in a way really scared of what's coming. If everybody just keeps on following this way, I guess we all know what's coming. It is the centrally planned what's the universal basic income.
We've all read George
the
Orwell and
1984.
Aldous Huxley, haven't we?
So yeah, this is the time where it's happening, and not a lot of people get it, and that's why it's such a shame to see that all these people are doing a great job, but then in the end are working around each other, and in some way, you know, it needs to connect and work together because the opposition, or let's say the enemy, is well structured, well organized. If the WHO wants to bring out a message, the next day in all newspapers of every country all over the world has that same message. And
Yeah, but Yoshi, that's exactly where we need to attack because that is also their vulnerability. It is very hierarchical and it's very rigid. If you take away the nodes in this information network that is carefully crafted the last 30 years, then things start to fall apart rapidly because this is a building they have created. For instance, if you could neutralize the key players that are perpetrating these crimes within the RIVM or within the Ministry of Health, then things are really falling apart. And once it crumbles, everything is interconnected with those hierarchical systems. So that's exactly their vulnerability and where I see a lot of chances. When I started the organization of Virus Truth, I had a few talks with Ramil. He was the first interviewer when we did this interview at Weltsmerts. And he showed me that what I was doing was already done by the Swedish Pirate Party. And it's the swarm theory. And I think although what we are seeing socially, biologically, is that we're going from a pack animal or to a herd animal, and now we're going to a hive animal. But exactly that chaos and fluid dynamic cells cooperating, doing a lot of redundancy. Everybody is reinventing the wheel, but it makes it so hard to disrupt for this hierarchical behemoth. And that I really feel that will be. We don't know which cell or which organization has the key to dish out a destructive blow to that system. And the beauty of it, the other side also doesn't know, because even with their amazing intelligence work and their AI systems, and if you look at Facebook knows when your relationship is over before you do, because they know you better than you know yourself. The thing that AI is really bad at is creativity. So spontaneous thoughts that really come from within, or realizations that come from within, I think they are still relatively difficult to program, and that's where I see a lot of opportunity. And if we use those parts for a digital currency, same thing. We really need to use our creativity and our way of interacting, like a non-rigid, non-hierarchical structure.
Yeah. I only fear one thing, because they have power that you haven't mentioned yet, and it's a proven solution. If you talk about the 1920s, you had Germany, a very advanced country, highly educated people. How could they fall for what happened? They all knew. And the reason why they fell for Nazism was propaganda and media control, scare. So when you start to disrupt, people get scared and they become very vulnerable for what's happening right now. And yeah, you said it many times before, but that's my scare, my personal scare also. I mean, I don't know if you read Blood Countries from Timothy Snyder. Um, if you've read the Nobel Prize of the Literature 2016, Svetlana Alexievich, Second and Time. These are narratives, stories which you don't want to revive. Nazism, Stalinism, and that's where the other side is moving to as a final escape. So we need to prevent that.
Absolutely. I had an interview with Matthias Desmet about this mass formation. It's like a form of hypnosis or confirmation that people want to belong to the big group. And then I always want to take that step further. Where does that need come from? And I really believe that it is all about childhood traumas. Uh, Children that have been punished, that fear pain, but even more important, fear neglect or abandonment or the feeling of being insufficient, have a tendency to seek shelter in the big group. This is fish behavior, because they're part of the school of fish. They find safety in numbers, and that's exactly where it goes wrong. It's not even about autonomy; it's about safety, and that scare tactic. So one of the reasons why I try to educate people, but why I don't want to use fear or exaggeration to the other side. I'm not saying they are going to destroy us or that there's an agenda to wipe out 90% of the human population, or that all the people that are getting injected will die, because that's still using fear to educate people, and it doesn't work. The only way we can counter fear, and that sounds Christian in that sense, is love. And it starts with first establishing or repairing self-love. And from that self-love comes the possibility of having self-critique. And with self-critique, then you can establish a more objective reality, and you're inoculated, so to say, against all this propaganda. And we really have to go back to the beginning. Of course, we're constantly sending and disrupting the propaganda channel. But the real solution, I think, for that is to make people and to increase their autonomy, is to have them in a safe space where they are their primal fears.
Can you repeat the last? Because you were breaking up for the last second.
So I really think that we need to create a safe space for people to be willing and able to confront themselves with their primal fears, their childhood traumas.
But that safe space is not chaos. So
no, it's not chaos, because people fare very poorly in when they don't know.
So that's something to avoid.
Exactly, and this is also the lure that the government has. Everybody now understands that if you look at it factually, it's really a childish bullshit story, the whole narrative. but at least there is a story. There's something to cling on to, and that branch that the government is offering with a carrot on the end of the branch, like, okay, we have a very narrow path to safety, but in the end we get a reward. That is typically how children are manipulated. And once we realize that we are in the tree and that we can take any branch and there's more fruits hanging around, and that's creating alternatives, that's creating options, then people are not falling for the bullshit story anymore, because it's not a well-crafted story, to be honest. Like, most people that were really critical got it in a few weeks or months, that they could punch holes through it, that they could actually assess, like, this is not reality, this is an attack on reality.
Yeah. But my main fear is people need not only an olive branch and a pea, but what I see, and these developments, as I called transition towns, I don't need to say EFL. These are babies still. So it's if things collapse, they are still babies and they won't survive. And we need to focus more on the parallel solution. And that's why I press you to dive into the or have people around you that can help you with it, and that you can focus on where you're good in.
Yeah. I promise that we will take a step in that direction and start to educate people or co-educate people, and start to also have the option of digital currency or electronic currency for the people that donate, or for the people that do
for example,
chores.
Yeah, that's already a great start, you know.
Yeah.
Guys,
it's a good purpose.
should we talk about something more? We got 7 minutes in this hour. I got a 9-minute donation video, of course, for everybody that wants to donate to our cause of the day, Virus Truth.